What's going on, guys? This is Alex back with Metasophicles Gaming, bringing you 3 more of these Wilds of Eldraine collector boosters. So far, these have been really cool. I have not pulled a confetti foil yet. Even if it's on a common, I just want to see it because it looks really cool. I just want to see how it looks in person because when the light's shining on it, it always looks a little bit better. We've pulled some pretty good cards. We've pulled some very interesting cards. A lot of the reprints that we're getting from that Enchanted Tales, or I think it's called something like that. Those are really cool. We've pulled some good ones. Definitely looking forward to seeing what else we can get. But overall, this is just a fun set to open so far. I mean, clearly, look at this little stabby gingerbread lady. Really cool. So can't wait to open these. So let's just go ahead and get right into it and see what we can get from these 3 collector boosters. Okay, pack number 1 here. You know, the inside of these are very, very shiny too. It's very interesting. Okay, so we start off with a Blind Obedience in, I think, what looks like that might be the anime art, maybe not. No, I don't think it is. It's just a really cool art. We've already pulled one of these. Really cool card. We get an Oversold Cemetery, which is another really cool card in that reprint slot. We do get a Will, Scion of Peace, in that borderless cool art. So it's a 2/4 with Vigilance, and he costs 1 and a blue and a white. Tap him, and spells you cast this turn that are white and or blue cost X less to cast, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Very cool card. I like to see any of these, like, you know, legendary cards. Hilda, they're all very cool, very awesome. I think that they are good commander options. It's cool to see what people can build around when something new like that comes out. Will and Rowan, I think, is the other one, are definitely pretty cool. We get a Spellbook Vendor, which is a human peasant. 2 mana for a 2/2 with Vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay 1. When you do, create a Sorcerer Role token attached to target creature you control. If you control another role on it, put that onto the graveyard, and enchanted creature has +1/+1, and whenever this creature attacks, scry 1. So definitely interesting. These rolls are an interesting mechanic, I think. It's definitely cool to see. Basically, it just creates an aura attached to it, which is awesome. Different ones for different types of effects, like the cursed one, which negatively affects the creature that you played. So you kind of have to try and get rid of that, which is interesting. Some of them are beneficial. Just an interesting little twist on how to play certain creatures and cards. Always fun to see what they come up with, whether or not it ends up being good or not. We will see. So pack number 2 here. Okay, pack number 2, we get a Hardened Scales, which is another one of those really good reprints. So Hardened Scales is 1 mana for an enchantment. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, put that many +1 instead. Definitely an awesome card. Happy to see that, especially in the borderless, or I think that's borderless. Borderless foil, very nice. Prismatic Omen, 2 mana for an enchantment. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to other land types. So pretty cool. Like to see that. Again, all these reprints, I think they look really cool. Like, the art on them is awesome. It's like fairy tale-esque very much. Like, this kind of reminds me of the Wizard of Oz almost. With like 4 little people wandering down this little yellow brick road. But I think the art's really cool. We get a Restless Fortress, which is the black-white version of the land. You tap 4, it becomes a 1/4 white and black nightmare until end of turn. Whenever it attacks, defending player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So that's another one that could potentially be very interesting to see. Fairy Slumber Party. It's 6 mana for a sorcery to return all creatures to their owner's hands. For each opponent who controlled a creature returned this way, you create two 1/1 blue fairy creature tokens with flying, and this creature can block only creatures with flying. So it's an interesting board wipe effect that gives you a replacement for this stuff. So at least to some extent, you don't really get a fairy for everything, but for each opponent, you're going to get 2 as long as they had something bounced. So could be pretty cool. I actually haven't seen this yet. Sentinel of Lost Lore. 3 mana for a 3/4. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1 or more. Return target card you own in exile that has an adventure to your hand. Put target card you don't own in exile that has an adventure on the bottom of its owner's library, and exile target player's graveyard. That's actually really interesting. Maybe not so much for Commander, which is what I primarily play, but I think it'll be very interesting for people that are playing this in, Standard or Draft or whatever other formats you might see it in, where people are actually using more of the adventure stuff. Utopia Sprawl, Hatching Plans. We get a Glass Casket, Ice Rot Sentry, Ginger Brute, so a little food golem guy. Interesting cards in there. Let's move on to the final pack here. So last pack for this video. So we start with a Copy Enchantment, which is a fun one back from the original Ravnica set. I used to love this card. I had several of them, built a deck. I think it was a mill deck based around this and a few other fun things. Cool to see that. Definitely like that card. I'll find plenty of use for it. We get a Goblin Bombardment, which is another really cool card. I can throw that version of that in my Goblin deck and make it look a little nicer since I hate goblins. But I made a Krenko deck recently just because I had one and I decided I needed to build it for fun. And I've used it once, and it's built by a bunch of garbage that I just had sitting around. So not very good, but maybe that'll make it better. We got a Baluna Grand Squall. It is a green, blue, and red for a giant noble, 4/4 with trample, and permanent spells you cast that have an adventure cost 1 less to cast. So I don't think it would make the adventure cost less, but the permanent itself will cost less, which is pretty interesting, since a lot of things in this set will have adventure on them because it's a big mechanic. You can cast this thing's adventure, Seek Thrills, for 2 green, blue, red. Mill 7 cards, then put all cards that have an adventure from among the milled cards into your hand. So that's actually really, really good. I think that would be very interesting to see a deck built around that. We get Sir Ginger the Meal Ender. It's a cool little a knight there. Dark Tutelage, Utopia Sprawl, land, and a few Crystal Grotto, Scarecrow Guide, Bellowing Bruiser, Corvold, and the Noble Thief. Create a treasure token for 1 and 2, and then exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library, and you may play those cards this turn. So, interesting little saga there. So overall, I think this was a very good pack opening. Hardened Scales, very good. I'm excited to see Oversold Cemetery, Will. This was a very interesting one, Baluna Grand Squall. I didn't see that when I was looking through spoils. Copy Enchantment. Overall, very, very good packs. I'm very excited about this set, as I keep saying. It's just very fun. I like the art style. I like the fairy tale theme. It's just very cool. Let me know what you guys think about that. Do you like the theme? Do you like the fairy tale, the the gingerbread night and all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.